Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Definitely enjoy talking with you, during our Call of Duty sessions. So,
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I wanted to kind of get out a little bit more today since we have been doing that for a few months now. But yeah, so the first thing that I wanted to do was just kind of let you introduce yourself. In this podcast, I want to talk to people that are into gaming and in health. And I think you're a perfect example of that. I know a little bit about your background story and how you grew up. And I think that's going to be a interesting story just to hear how you've grown. But yeah, so go ahead and introduce yourself. Just tell us a little bit about you and what you do for work, for fun, gaming, and health, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into that.
yeah, my name is Samuel. I am a music producer. I am a gamer, streamer. I don't know what you call that, like specifically, but I love to stream games. And yeah, so that's kind of like that was a mouthful of questions. I'll try to okay, so yes, my name is Samuel. I'm a musician and I'm a gamer. I stream. And what was the second part of
Just
the
so I guess I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into you growing up, right, and the changes that you've made in your life, because I know you've mentioned that you were overweight as a kid. It's like,
yeah.
so and now you look healthy, you look good. So I know you made big changes in your life. So let's start with that. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that part of your life.
Yeah, so I guess going back to I don't know. I was always kind of like an eater when I was a kid. I was a thin kid up until like middle school and definitely like high school. That's kind of when I put on the weight. I think it was honestly a combination of just being a teenager. You grow up, you get inundated with all of these emotions, and you're just there's so many feelings, and you find your vices, and that's kind of like turned into one of my vices, just eating. So that kind of spiraled, and I remember whenever I used to be like sad or depressed, I'd always turn to food, and that was definitely like my vice. And yeah, I mean, it was tough. It was tough. I never felt comfortable. I was always insecure about my body. Uh, it was a pain. One of the things I hated most was like the summer,
Mhm.
because you couldn't like hide anymore. You had to like not have your sweater on, and that was a real down time for me. Yeah, so I was definitely one of those kids who kept their shirt on in
For sure.
in the pool. So yeah, and so that kind of like really that kind of got progressively worse. It started in seventh grade, and then it kind of like peaked in 10th grade. And in 10th grade, I was like my heaviest. I honestly think I could fact check. Don't quote me on this, but I think I honestly weighed like 100 and like 73 pounds. And I'm not a big guy. I'm a small guy. So that kind of weight on that small frame, it was just like, I just remember going to the doctor, and she's just like, yo, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Sam, like, you're showing signs that you're pre-diabetic. And I
Oh
was like,
wow.
oh shit, like, this is bad.
Yeah, because you're still very young at that time. And
Yeah,
just to get a little bit more context, how tall are you to compare that to your weight?
I'm 5'3". So
5'3", yeah,
I'm not a big guy. So yeah, that puts things in perspective.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
you know.
Well,
So yes.
just sorry
Yeah,
to interrupt you, but I'm
no worries.
5'2", and for me, my natural weight is between 120, 125. And in the past, I've tried to push myself to put on weight, and I've gotten up to 130. But at that point, I feel different. I feel slower. I feel sluggish. I feel heavy. So you being a little bit taller than me and 173 does definitely sound like you would have completely been out of your like normal feeling, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it was such a long time that I even forgot what like normal feeling felt like, you know? I just remember playing sports or trying to. The sad thing was is that I always loved to play sports. So
Mhm.
I think that was like my lifeline to like having me not like completely go off the edge because I was always trying to stay active, like trying to get like lose the weight was always something in the back of my mind. So I always try and merge it with like sports
Mhm.
because when no one really likes to run. I feel like running is one of those like acquired tastes. You only get bit when you're like older and you understand the value of it. But
Yeah.
when you're young, like you
I
don't.
it's funny because I completely agree with you because I kind of have that same mentality where I rather play a sport than run specifically. Like I'm not gonna say, "Hey, let's go for a run," but I will say, "Hey, let's go play soccer or let's go play basketball." Which involves running, right? But for me, I don't have the taste buds for specifically going out to run. Although sprints, I love sprints. I'm not gonna lie. I've always been very quick, and I felt like that had a purpose for me. Like I can use sprinting in basketball and soccer, right? So I felt like I was getting better when I did that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's always fun to race people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, "Oh, I bet I'm faster than you." Nah, I don't
Exactly.
think so. Let's race then.
Let's
Let's
do
go.
it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So what sports did you try and play, or did you play that helped you get leaner?
Um, I'd say soccer, like you
Soccer.
mentioned. Soccer was one of the main sports that I it sucks because it's like, being like a smaller guy, it's like you can't there are so many sports that you can really like excel at. Obviously, like, like you can play like football like for fun with your homies, but nothing like, if you were to play in a team setting, you'd have like definitely your restricted positions, right? Like maybe a kicker or maybe on like special teams. But
Mhm.
or you pull like Maurice Jones-Drew, put
He's
on
packed.
mad tree trunks. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's interesting.
But
So, and that's one thing that I've noticed with a lot of the running backs that they're not necessarily like the tallest guys. They're actually pretty short. Like they're some of the shorter guys on the teams, but they're just thick. And so that
I know.
thickness allows them to be super quick to make good, really change the direction plays, and then just be able to carry people, right, and push people around.
Yeah, yeah, which is like just so baffling to me. But
Right.
like you said, like the physics make sense.
Hmm.
Just double down on like your tree trunks, and then you're just good. You're just like, so compact and like,
Yeah.
nothing can hit you.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like going back to that, I think soccer was like my main sport that I consistently tried to play. And that kind of like over time, that kind of also I think honestly too, with age too. Like I remember my mom enrolled me in a kind of like an outward bound program one summer because it was like my weight was like kind of getting out of shape, like sorry, out of shape, out of control. So I went to this outward bound program and there was like tons of hiking and like just all about nature, and that was like the spark to like get me. I like lost like at least like 40 pounds. Like it got me into the area where I felt like, okay, now I can, like play soccer. I can, go to the gym, and I can actually start to like even refine that even more. So
Okay.
yeah, so
Yeah, and so I guess moving on to like the present, do you feel like with going through that experience, like you've gotten a better, I guess like a love for being aware of health and taking care of yourself? Like, is that something you enjoy now? Is that something you look forward to doing now? Like just having a plan for working out and paying attention to your diet and thinking about eating healthy and things like that. Like, is that something that now that you're older and you've gone through that experience, like your your thirst for that is there now as opposed to when you were a kid?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it has. It's weird. Like it's an interesting um feeling, like, trying to think about what you said, kind of I am really thankful in a way that I kind of got out of shape because I was able to kind of like double down on, like you were saying, the importance of nutrition and daily exercise, creating that as a part of your lifestyle of how you just operate, and turning that into, like you're saying, um, just like a second nature where it's just kind of like you're one. It all works in tandem, right? Because it's just like you for like 3 years you eat really well and you work out, and now your body is conditioned after that 3 years that it just like I don't know, it just your muscle memory, your memory, it just nothing like hits you. The longer you do something, like I feel like the harder it is, and also easier, but it harder it is to kind of go backwards in a way
Hmm.
if you're so consistent after such a long time. Which is like, for that reason, I'm very thankful that I was so consistent from like high school all the way until like now with like my diet, kind of like going in through like being vegan and like trying that, no carbs, just straight keto diet, just to figure out how like my body reacts to these things. Ultimately, like I'm vegan now, but to go back to your point, it's weird. It's like, as much as like I want to get extra like fit, I am in this phase of like maintaining, because like life, there's like so many other, you also realize too how time consuming it is to kind of just put all your effort into fitness, but also learning how to balance like your life of like trading and like, like doing learning these crafts, these skill sets also take time. So it's like you're in the point in your life too where it's like, I have to do so much and I have to balance it. So like I guess that's where
Hmm.
I am right now. Like,
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally understand, but I think that that is important, and I think that's the most important factor in when it comes to health, the balancing component of it. Because the biggest excuse that I hear as a personal trainer, as an athletic trainer, is I don't have enough time, right?
that's
Um,
true.
it always comes down to I don't have enough time. I work 8, 10, 12 hours. I have to take care of my kids. I have to take care of errands. On the days that I'm off, Saturday and Sunday, I just want to relax and watch a movie. You know what I mean? Like there's so many excuses, but it all revolves around time. But I think that's the most important thing that you said, just balance, figuring that, being able to figure out how you can balance doing everything else, but at the same time, having, 15, 30 minutes a day. And it doesn't have to be every day, but you know what I mean? Like a good amount of days in the week, 3, 4, 5 days a week, where you can do something that's purposeful in activity. If that's walking, if that's jogging, if that's doing 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, like a couple of times when we played, I have you play with my friends and we do push-ups while we're playing. And I push that on them because I know that they don't work out regularly. I've
Mm.
known them for a long time. So when we're playing, I try to push that on them just because, again, I know how they are. But the point being here that you learn that, through your experience. And I think that that is something that not everybody learns. Or I think that there's a comprehension of it, like that that's what you need to do, but it's hard to actually apply it to your life.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's a constant theme in like so many people's lives. It's like the answer is like right there. You just have to do it. And that's
Hmm.
like this unforeseen, unspoken of like true hard like wall that you have to climb over to like, see progress in whatever it is you're trying to do.
Yeah. And going back to what you said, in the beginning, just the benefit that you find in running as you get older or jogging as you get older. And it's interesting because I honestly feel like that is the easiest thing that you can do, and you're going to stay healthy. If you're just jogging or running a couple of times a week, I think that is the answer, the simplest answer. Obviously, if you want to be more athletic, if you want to have more definition, if you want to be stronger, then you have to add some strength training. But I think just to look healthy, to feel healthy, I think just running is the answer.
Yeah. Yeah, like I 100% agree, because I think that, you know, when I maintain, it's like I go to the gym, and I try and go to the gym, and I try and spend at least an hour there. I try and go in the elliptical and try and burn at least like 500, 400 calories, and then just do like whatever it is that I'm feeling in like whatever it's like whatever it is I feel needs work,
Hmm.
I'll do it. But that's like a maintaining approach to it, where it's like there's no real like goal to a certain extent other than to just not regress. But I do know that like one session of like running, like I just feel like so much better than like being in the gym,
Yeah.
so it's like, but also with running, what I find too is, as much as it's like amazing, sometimes like, or maybe it's a perception of what I think it will happen based on like past, is like wear myself out a lot. So I'm
Mm.
like so tired, or good tired, but like I'm just like at the in the moment in my life too, where I'm like trying to get like so many things like done, that I'm like scared to like push myself to that point, just because I'm just like, yo, I can't, like I have to wake up at like 5 in the morning. I have to like get this daily task done before like work at like 9.
Hmm.
So like, but yeah, like no excuse, right? It's like, well, yeah, I haven't tried it yet, which is true. I haven't like run in like a few months, honestly. I need to get back into it, because I have some of my best thinking when I'm running, like
Yeah.
motivational thinking.
Yeah.
You ever get that?
I do actually. Something that I have been doing more recently, because right now I honestly feel like I'm in the same phase as you, where I'm just maintaining, in the sense that I don't have a specific goal of I'm trying to put on weight or I'm trying to put on muscle. Like I'm 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 purposely working out and just going through the motions. I just want to do something. I just want to work out, but I don't have like a goal in mind, you know what I mean? Like a strength goal or anything like that. So in that mentality that I have right now of just maintaining, I've been doing a lot more walking. So luckily I have a backyard where I'm living right now, and it's a very spacious backyard. So I'm able to do laps, just walking, and there's trees in the back. There's
Oh
it's a
wow.
nice backyard. So I've just been doing laps, and I go out there, almost every day, and just walk for 20, 30 minutes. And sometimes I do it while I listen to music. Sometimes I do it while I'm listening to a YouTube video about stocks and like what's going up, what's going down, and companies and all this stuff. Sometimes, I just walk, right? So just enjoy the air. And we have a bunch of noises out here from like birds and dogs and all that stuff. But yeah, so I do feel like, um, you start thinking about, just life, right? And what are some things that you need to get done, what's on your to-do list. And I think that that is important. And I do think that that's where like the mental component comes into working out and exercising, where just
Yeah.
being able to purposely exercise allows your mind to focus on that. But then at the same time, since you're only focusing on that, then you start thinking about some of the things that are important, or that you're forgetting about, that you need to bring up again, like paying your credit card, or like doing your renewal on your car. It's just like, fuck, I know that's coming up, but I haven't done it. So all
Yeah, that stuff
those little
works.
things come up. But yeah, so I do think that the maintenance phase is also necessary, right? Because it's important to let your body recover after you've been either having long days at work, or if you were working on like a periodized workout regimen where you were putting on weight, putting on muscle. There comes a point where your body can only take enough, and then your joints start bothering you, and things start to happen to you where you just you're hurting, your lower back is bothering you, so you need to slow it down a little bit and let your body recover, let your tendons recover.
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely attest to that. When I was overweight, like my ankles, my feet were always. I always was like, why do I have I don't get it. Why is it always hurting? Why is my knee always hurting?
Hmm.
And then obviously, like when I lost the weight, I was like, all these problems just seem to just go away. And
Yeah.
it's wild, just like running, right, or just like being active. You don't realize the hole that you're kind of in until you are starting to like sweat, and you're starting to think, and your mind's starting to get in the motion like your body is, and like all you just feel so much better, like wow, like looking back, like I'm happy I went on that walk. Or I'm happy I went on that run. You know, I feel energized. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, like if you really think about you know, the the physical state of being overweight, a lot of that we can look at it as having a lot of inflammation in your body, right? And so when
mm,
when you start to go back into your normal body weight and you start shedding a lot of those pounds, a lot of that inflammation goes away, and that starts to help you, you know, like you mentioned a little bit about your pain, ankles and all that stuff. But it makes sense, right? It's not only the weight, but it's also just the inflammation from all the stress, right, that was happening to your body, to your joints.
yeah, yeah. I didn't even think about like the inflammation that could have been like in like the sockets of like my knee
Exactly.
and like my ankle. Jeez,
Yeah, yeah.
happy, happy I'm not there.
But you know, we're talking about a little bit about time constraint as well, and so now we're adding another block to our schedule by trying to play games and using that as a way to kind of build our brands, and we're doing that by having fun, right? I think the best thing that we can do is combine having fun with a little bit of a purpose to it, in and for us it's building that brand, right? So we're able to engage with some of our friends, some of our you know, customers, people like that. So so when it comes to gaming, so I know that you're fairly new to it, to streaming. At least you're a gamer, but to streaming you're fairly new to
Ride or die.
it. So I'm curious about that. I'm curious about how, um, what's your experience been in this, in the last few months that you started to learn about the equipment needed for streaming and setting up the software and kind of getting everything aligned just to like be able to like play and have fun and have all the technicals ready to go.
Oh man, it has been an experience. I'll say that. Um, I'll say one thing. I was very wrong. I completely underestimated what goes into like streaming and like and what these like big streamers what they've done is just like getting into it. I'm just like, wow, like shit. It isn't just, you know, put up a camera and point and shoot. You know, there's just so much that goes into it. And it's just it baffles me how much time they put into their setups, how many things they've had to get ready. Like I don't even know where to begin. When I first started streaming, it was, you know, we were doing it. I was doing it through the PS4, and now I wanted more custom elements on my like what do they call it? Like your camera that's looking at you. So I was just like looking through like the different ways you could do it. You know, I was looking at the Twitch Studio. I was looking at OBS streams. I was looking at the OBS, and I ultimately, I guess, decided with like OBS for some reason. I think it was like the most like widely. I think honestly, it was just like the more tutorials I had on OBS. It was just like more like realistic that I could just like plug and play like my
Mhm.
whatever I wanted on it. So it was that was like a step trying to figure out how that worked, figuring out how to connect. First of all, the PS4 camera wouldn't connect. It works like for PS4 solely.
Mhm.
And so I had to get a camera, and then I had to like my mic kept being wonky, so then I had to get this Astro gaming like console because I wanted more control over the background of the game versus like my voice. And ultimately I realized too that the 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 microphone on the OBS, sorry, the microphone on the Astro gaming set isn't, it could be better, right? So I have this um microphone here that I do for podcasts, and I'm trying to like hook it. I have a Scarlett that I use for music, so I'm just like, why don't I just to figure out how, like I haven't even figured that out yet, which is why don't I figure out how to record my voice through the Scarlett and have it come out through there. But my only problem is I have to figure out how to disconnect the audio from the video from the Astro. Honestly, I think I'm making it way too complicated for myself. I have a tendency to overcomplicate things. So,
Yeah.
but it's a slow moving progress. And, I'm always trying to upgrade. Like I recently like tried to get some lighting to lighten like the my background up a bit. I have to work on the background now.
Mhm.
It's like a process of all these things, but it's like you love it. Like I don't know, going back to the roots of it, like I've always loved gaming. Like even before like, streaming or even online was honestly a thing. Like, do you remember like when like online, first of all, you didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Like it was just, I remember when Xbox first charged you. Xbox was the only, that's actually one of the reasons why I chose PS4 over Xbox
Mhm.
was because Xbox had that monthly subscription. And it's
Mhm.
like, well, PS4 is free.
Right.
And so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah, no,
but I think that that's important what you're talking about, just the whole setup of the hardware and the software, like with OBS and then the mics and all that stuff. Um, I am definitely, I guess, in the more minimalist area because I started like you, right? I started with just doing the PS4 and I had to figure out, okay, what do I need in order to stream through the PS4? Because that was just like a quick on and off button just on the controller, right? I wanted to
yeah,
just be quick about it. So I was like, okay, so all I need is a camera and then I'm good. So I bought a camera and then I started trying it out and it worked, right? And then I started to kind of dive deeper into kind of what you're talking about. I found out that through OBS you can live stream through there, and then you can have more customization of the sound, and then you can have different loading screens, like a start screen, a game screen, a chat screen, like whatever you want, right? You can have different setups for that, and I definitely like that. And I did start to play around with that. I have OBS downloaded and I started to do all that. But I felt, I guess, and to your point, where like streamers that are popular, that are making money, that are actually um, that this is their part-time job or their full-time job. I feel like there is a quality component to it, right? Where
yeah,
if you're gonna have if you're gonna make this your job and you're gonna have a lot of people just watching you and engaging with you, you want to provide the best quality available, right? But with that comes obviously more investment on your end with money and time, right? Like you've been doing this for a few months and you're still trying to figure out the sound, right? Which is good because you want to dive deeper and you want to provide the best quality possible to the people that are watching you play, and you're taking the best route, you know what I mean, when it comes to quality. um but it is hard, right? And I learned that too, and that's why for me it was just like, well, i'm I'm not there yet where I'm like making money from this. And I'm still in that minimalist kind of perspective where like I just want to keep it simple. I just want to play and I just want to engage and have the chat open and talk to them. And I think that if I ever start to get some kind of consistency through viewers and some engagement, I think I would definitely want to be able to provide better quality. But I think this is just me, right? Just on my end, I just want to be able to play and stream and just like be as minimalist as possible. Um, but again, I think that what you're doing is the best route to take, just providing quality. But it does take more investing as you figured it out.
yeah. Like I don't even want to think about like the amount of like money I've like put into this. Like it's weird. I related equivalent like similarly to like the gym bug,
Hmm.
the healthy eating bug. I don't
Hmm.
know what where it's just like you just get bit and you just also too like you, right? You're it's cool that you have your priorities and you're understanding like the value of your time and where to focus your efforts into in terms of like things, and nothing's off the table, but there's just certain sections of certain moments that have just a little bit more priority than the rest of them. but it's cool because everything is consistently fluctuating. So, you never know tomorrow if you might feel different. And
Right.
so that honestly like kind of leads into like as like Supe is we went on a little bit of a hiatus, but we've been talking a lot, having a lot of in-depth conversations about how we want to kind of consolidate, like you're saying, our priorities
Hmm.
without stretching us like too thin, and figuring out and going back to like the root of what initially like made us happy, and
Hmm.
starting from there and then branching out, instead of kind of like trying to tackle the world or tackle like everything that you want to do,
Yeah.
being a little bit more tactical about it, which is like, me doubling down on like obviously like music and streaming, and the podcasts are like super important that we value.
Hmm.
Me and Megan value so much. And so we're kind of like focusing on that. And then we're gonna, hopefully be able to branch out more. Because, the goal is, right, you're betting on yourself a little bit, right?
Hmm.
Betting on yourself on the content that you are like, that you can give anything, right? A laugh, advice, just sharing a hard time, just stuff of that nature, and hope that people are interested in that if they want to listen to you for you. And so it's kind of like how everything relates.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think the last point I want to go back to a little bit of like you paying attention to the details of your streaming equipment and quality. I think that probably comes from you being a producer, that you are aware of these little noises and you are aware of what exists, the power that you can get out of these instruments that you have and that you can get, right? So for you, streaming is just kind of like an extension of your expertise, right? You have all this knowledge and skills from music, and so there's sound in streaming, and so you're trying to get the best that you can because that's just who you are. That's just a skill that you have, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And also on that point too, is as like this newfound passion of mine is growing, I have to some kind put myself in check.
Hmm.
Like bro, like don't, like, I know you love this right now, but but music has been there for like a long time and you love
Hmm.
this. So like careful, like
Hmm.
you check yourself, bro. Like you focus on you, like like, right, you focus on your what is more important, like at the core value of who you are, and don't let these new cool things in the that have just been, you just experienced, cloud your judgment of the longevity of where you want to go, which is why
Yeah.
sometimes it's, you know, I could have been, I think I could have like taken this like a little extra and like double down on a lot of things, but like you said, right, that comes with finances. Other finances need to be allocated to, like, for instance, music,
Hmm.
on like learning, like taking some Udemy classes, learning how to like mix, learning how to edit vocals. That's like not one of my strong suits, and figuring out how to get better at that.
Hmm.
So with that being said, you have to, push, like, streaming, maybe turn it down a little bit for now, but it
Hmm.
will come back up once you feel you're in a better place with this. It's like it's that
Yeah.
level. So
Yeah, yeah, and the interesting thing is that streaming in itself is a skill, right? So now that you learn how to do that, there's a place where you can combine both of those skills, right? There's a place where you can have instead of streaming your video game, you can stream you creating a song. You know what I mean? Stream for 2 hours and you're actually creating a song. So now you're killing two birds with one stone. You know what I mean?
exactly, which is exactly my like okay to buying a new computer, that
Hmm.
like a gaming computer, right? Because regardless of whether you're gaming, you're streaming something, and that
Hmm.
streaming takes computing power.
Hmm.
And you do, like, I have thought about, and I am in the process of like playing live DJ sets,
Hmm.
doing those 2-hour tutorials of me just trying to muscle through a song,
Hmm.
and just talking with people, uh, my frustrations. I don't know. Well, like, you got any ideas? Because I'm fucking assed out right now. Like, shit, this isn't sounding right. Like, fuck,
Yeah.
because I think people love that. People love to see like the
Yeah.
struggle and the hustle, because
Yeah,
uh,
that is inspiration, right? You being able to kind of let loose and let yourself just go and try something out and take a risk. I think, people look at that and they get inspired. They're just like, oh shit, he's able to do it. He didn't care. You know what I mean? And let me try it. Let me stream, or let me make a beat, or let me do something, right? Um, so that's interesting. What you were saying about Supay too, I do think, that your podcast that you were doing, they were definitely very, very deep, man. Like every time that I heard a podcast from you guys, I definitely always felt uh, like you guys just kind of let it out. You know what I mean? You guys were going deep into things that have happened in your past, and things that you were struggling, now. And so it was really good to kind of see that, um, in the podcast, perspective, where you guys are just kind of, sharing that with the world. And but I think that that adds value, to who you guys are. And again, buying you, that's how people buy into your story and buy into your services and products. And again, like betting with yourself, kind of that idea where like you're being authentic and you're sharing your story, and you're taking your risk, right? Because that's all part of your skills. If it's either streaming or making music or the podcast or your products, that's all skills that you guys are building independently, right? And you're, like you say, you're taking like Udemy classes to learn and get better, and from that be able to create something new and create more quality things. So yeah, I do think that it's nice to be able to take a step back. And I kind of been in that same perspective, where I've been thinking a lot about the value, like what kind of value do I want to provide, for real, right? Is it because again, with this podcast, I'm talking to athletic trainers, I'm talking to people that are in the healthcare field, and I've done that, for most of the episodes. But now I'm trying to bring in a little bit more of a uh, different ingredient, right? Which is a little bit more of
Yeah.
gamers, because that is something that I love gaming. And one of my goals is to be able to help out gamers with their health, right? And be able to provide them a platform where they can feel safe to ask questions, right? And be okay with who they are, but with the purpose of wanting to be better, wanting to be healthier, right? Because that is a place where, like, when it comes to gaming, you're not out playing, you're not active, you're actually sitting, and your mind is working, but physically you're sitting. So I think that you need to be able to find that balance, right, between gaming and still in your mind knowing that you need to be able to like strengthen your core so that your back is not bothering you, and like stretch out your wrist, your elbows, your shoulders, so that you're not developing carpal tunnel and things like that, right? And posture, so many things that you need to be aware of when you're a gamer, so that later on in life you're not struggling with some chronic pain.
Yeah, for sure. Like that, like, that area of like, you know, helping gamers and people who are like glued to like, screens of like podcasters that are just like always sitting down. Like I feel like such a like it's like before the wave, right? Like,
Hmm.
like getting on that and being one of the first to be able to like brand themselves as like, that it like guy, like that it like, oh, you need help? I got a guy, I know a guy, like he's really good. He helped my boy, like, like all like imagine like all like semi-pros just like talking about it, like
Yeah.
because you've been able to like brand yourself as like, this like John Gruden guru, this guru of like gaming, that shit, man. Like that's possible. Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think what's important is just being able to like dive in, right, and take a risk and try it out and see where it goes, right? Because I think that's what that at the end of the day, like that's what helps us like wake up every day, right? It's just like what am I gonna add in value today, right? What's my purpose today? And so for a long time for me, that was just like, oh shit, I want to go to school and learn, right? And I want to get an education, and then that's going to open up more doors for me, and it did. So now that I'm here, what can I do with this new skill that I've acquired, right? And who else can I help with this knowledge that I have? um, and
Exactly.
and my like the route that we usually take as athletic trainers is like working with sports, working with athletes, and so uh, although that is the easiest path to take, I've chosen to try a little bit of a harder path and open up a new road and just kind of explore that and see what happens.
Yeah, well, that's I think that's even cooler. Going on the unbeaten path.
Hmm.
And like yeah, like doing something that is different, like trying new things is and not just trying new things, but like going like 100 at it, the most you can is like so rewarding because just always, I guess, always good to be like uncomfortable in a way, never necessarily like just settle. And you're always trying to like, which is dope. You're always trying to like improve, your sound. Like you always trying to make better music. Always trying to, what more value can I add to like a stream, right?
Hmm.
Like, oh, not maybe not limit the video games. Let me like do music and other things. I don't know, whatever comes to mind. So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, man. So what's I'm curious about like what's next for you? You got any plans for music, for your health, for gaming?
yeah, actually. So I'm planning to, well, there's a few things going on actually. Me and Megan are trying to start up the podcast again. We actually, filmed an episode. We have to film a second. Well, we have to film the second one. And so that's kind of like something that we're really trying to strive for, as well as I'm getting this new console. By the way, it shipped. The pieces finally came, so
Hmm.
it should be here soon. And I'm planning to stream the new Resident Evil game. What's it called? Resident Evil 8: The Village.
Okay.
Um, because that Resident Evil has always been like a staple in my life ever
Hmm.
since I was a kid. Shit used to freak me the fuck out. Like just playing the second one. Oh man. Um,
Yeah.
Definitely had a lot of nightmares. So doing that is gonna be at the top of my list come May 7th. And I have a new song that is almost ready. I've been working on. I'm just honestly the last thing I have to do is perfect the vocals. I have this vocal line that's there, but like you said, right? Why not just why not make it a great song, like an amazing song? Why stop there? Just because you have a good enough vocal line, why not like put in the extra work, put in the extra effort, and like seek out a vocalist and have them or her jam over the song and see if they can do a better job. Like,
Hmm.
can you like and be willing to like maybe throw some money at it and see if it works and knowing that it very well might couldn't, it very well might not, and that's okay
Yeah.
because you tried it. You took the risk, and not all risks will pan out, but it's important that you're calculated and you did it. So those three things are kind of like where the near future where I'm at right now.
For sure. Yeah, that all sounds great, man. Definitely. I'd love to check out the music once that's ready. So what kind of music, how would you describe the music that you're producing?
It's definitely like house music, like definitely like Dead Mouse vibes. um there's this artist called Atlas that I really vibe off of. Let's see. Lane 8. I don't know if you know that. It's super like chill vibes. Uh, I love like Madison, Morgan Madison. Dead Mouse. He's on Dead Mouse's label. Um, yeah, I've really been into this chill wave kind of vibe. This artist called Yoto. Another chill vibe. So it's kind of like more of like house, like trying to like definitely
Okay.
techno tech. So that's kind of like my lingo at the moment.
Yeah, dope. Cool,
So
man. That's good to hear. I'll definitely check those out. I've been in this I've been obsessed recently with Los Angeles Azules. I don't know if you heard of their music, but
No.
but you know, it's just music in Spanish, old school type of music. I feel like I remember
Nice.
hearing my dad listen to that a lot. So, anyways, right now I've just kind of been obsessed listening to that. Uh, but I always love listening to new music. You know, I think one of my goals with Brownline Media overall is to expose to different artists, and so I am always looking out for different kind of music for people of color. So that's cool, man. That's good to hear. You got some stuff coming up.
Hell yeah, yeah. And actually, I spent a lot of time working on my like album artwork, which is definitely like tailored obviously towards I'm part of Supe, so
Mhm.
that element of like your roots and where you come from in South America is like it couldn't be that much more like in your face, which is dope because you're like like this culture, South American culture, Latin American world, is
Yeah,
given us life,
yeah.
and it's important to like you said, get an education and prosper, and don't forget like where you come from
Hmm.
as well, like in learning to incorporate that. So
Yeah, no,
that's
definitely.
definitely,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's something that I always loved about you guys, that you are always thinking back to the past and your roots, and I think you can definitely see that in your brand and your art, for sure, and the stories you talk about too. You know, you guys talk about back home in Peru and stuff.
yeah, yeah, like it never really it never leaves you,
Yeah,
so why not just embrace it and teach people,
yeah,
about it. So
definitely.
it's a
Um,
good goal.
all right, so I got a couple of last quick questions for you, and then we'll be good for today. So first one is, do you have any books that you really enjoy reading, or that you've learned a lesson from, that you think would be good for people to know about?
Any books that I enjoy reading? I have to say I don't really read too many books. I'm more of like an audio guy. Like I
Okay.
love anything audio. But I haven't really been reading too much. I have been listening to like I'm a very with audio stuff. I tend to listen to it while I'm doing something. So like if
Yeah.
I'm at work, I'll like listen to it, and like it could be I'm a huge I don't know, like I'm a little bit off topic, but I'm a huge like I love creepypastas. Like you know the stories, the
What
scary
is it?
stories. They're called creepypastas.
Creepy
It's
pastas. I've never heard of that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like these like scary stories, these channels that all I do is like annotate scary stories.
Hmm.
Some I'm picky with the voice narration. So I have my favorites.
Yeah.
And there's just one channel that I always listen to, and I know, you say books of value, but I genuinely get like a lot of value from like listening to his stories, because one, like he's a music producer and he creates his own sounds,
Mm-hmm.
which honestly I am so impressed. Like I am so impressed by his sound quality and like how he's able to like he has his own themes for his intro and his outro, and obviously he incorporates it into like climaxes of scary stories, and it's really like outworld and space and just like cosmic and just dreading and like Lovecraft, like that kind of cosmic horror vibes.
Okay.
And so I love it because it helps me think, and it helps me think about the bigger picture of things, and it maybe
Yeah.
helps me put things into perspective that like we're really weak in retrospect, and we don't necessarily it's not depressing, but we don't necessarily matter. And that's a
Hmm.
cool thing because it kind of like it makes you feel like more down to earth, and it helps you escape. And I guess
Yeah.
that's like what I find value in from time to time. Actually a lot. But so yes, that would be my answer to the books. I watch I listen to creepy pastas.
No, I think that's perfect, because I think I do need to update this question into like, is there a book, or is there like a podcast or audio that you hear that you learn something from, that you want to share? Because I think that we are getting more and more away from books as we get older, and it's starting to turn more into like a podcast, or like even like a YouTuber, you know what I mean? They don't have a podcast. They just go on YouTube and like just talk about stuff, uh education and stuff. So that's good that you point that out. Now, creepy pasta, is that the title of the podcast? Is how do you listen to it?
I listen to it on YouTube.
Okay.
He does have a podcast. The creepypastas is like the genre, right? Like
Okay.
horror, happy, or sorry, like action.
Hmm.
So creepypastas would be tailored in scary.
Hmm.
And the specific one I listen to is called The Dark Summon. I can't read that word. The Dark Something.
Okay.
Um, SOMNIUM. I don't know.
Interesting.
The
Okay.
Dark. Yeah. So, oops, sorry. Yeah. So I've almost listened to every one of his stories. He's really good first of all, like these guys like pick people write these stories on like Reddit and stuff, and like they
Hmm.
just leave them out there. And I guess each person picks what stories they like and they'll annotate it. And so I guess I like his scouting of these stories because they're really good.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a mind fuck. Like I know it, like, it took some time to like train my mind to like, when you read, sometimes you're reading like a thriller, like maybe horror book, your mind like it starts to recreate these worlds and whatever
Yeah.
they're setting. You put faces on people that you don't there's no description of them, but you just, and that's kind of like, it took some time to like create these worlds, but now that I am able to, it definitely helps me
Hmm.
find inspiration, helps me escape from the what's it called, the monotony of your work day, so
Yeah.
um really huge credit to him. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
I'll
that's
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Like one thing that I was into a couple of months ago, which you made me think about it right now, was spaghetti
yeah.
westerns. So, so I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's basically old movies from like, the 20s till 80s, and even now there's a few new ones that have been produced. But basically, they're like funny Western movies. That there's still some tension to it. That there's bad guys, there's good guys, but the spaghetti component to it is just the humor in some of the things. Like, there's this one that I watched. I don't remember the name, but there was a scene where, like in the old days, they would be separated, and they'd be like, they unclip their gun holder, and then they're just staring at each other, and then the camera is switching from one other person to the other person, and the music starts to get more and more tense, and then at the end
Oh,
it gets really quiet, and then they both pull the gun and they shoot. Right. And so it's funny because in this one, they shoot at each other's hats, and one of them starts shooting the hat, and it just goes higher, and every time that he shoots the hat, it goes higher and higher and higher and higher.
I'm crying.
So it's just stupid, right? It's hilarious. But I was into spaghetti westerns for a little bit. I just thought it was so hilarious, but at the same time, I was really intrigued by the old technology, just like horses, and how they carry different guns around their horses. And anyways, that you just reminded me because of the name of creepy pasta. It's just like, what? I never heard of that.
I know, me too. I was like spaghetti westerns, and you're like creepy pastas. What the heck? It's all this pasta in there.
Right. That's funny.
No,
Spaghetti and
but
pasta.
yeah, but no, no, I too have like a really dope like admiration for like old westerns, old movies too in general too. It's funny too how they, what they deem as funny,
Mhm.
back then, specifically. I think humor is interesting, even though it's older, it has its like retro factor, vintage factor, but it's still funny, and it's even more funny, I guess, looking at it way in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool.
So,
That's funny, dude. All right. So last question for you.
all right.
You mentioned that you were vegan. So I'm curious about like what is your diet like, or what's like one of your favorite meals?
Um, One of my favorite meals right now would be I love um tofu.
Hmm.
I'm vegan right now actually, and so is Megan, and she like creates this like tofu like uh this cut up like tofu. She puts it in like the air fryer, and so it like gets crispy, and then like marinates it in like this kind of like soy sauce, General Chow sweet and sour like sauce, and like add spice to it. And we have like like air fried like veggies and stuff, and that's just like super like lean. I feel like super healthy. I can like snack on it as much as I want because like vegetables are really low in calories, but they're really nutritious.
Yeah.
So I just like so like
Awesome.
right now like that is honestly like my favorite meal, and because it's super clean. Because
Yeah.
I've ordered from in the New York City. There's so many vegan places, and I've ordered from like almost every one of them.
Hmm.
Like you should see my like Uber Eats are like seamless. The shit is just like vegan this, vegan that, vegan this. Like so, yeah. So I love the cleanness of it. Because
Okay.
so yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd say
So the tofu is like a plain flavored one, and then you just add she adds all the different stuff to add taste to it.
yeah. So it's like these
Got it.
little kind of like cuts it up squares, like
Yeah,
marinates it, and then like cooks it and stuff. So yeah, that
for
honestly
sure.
is like my favorite meal. So
Cool. Yeah. No,
yeah.
I definitely enjoy tofu as well. I like the freshness of it, but my sisters make fun of me because of the way that I eat it. I legit eat it like if it's ice cream, like like it's plain, right? There's no flavor to it, and I like the extra firm one. And I just get a spoon
Uh,
and I eat it just like that, what as a snack. You know what I mean?
oh really? Oh
Yeah.
wow, that's hardcore.
So that's what they were laughing about. It's just like, wait, you don't do anything to it? You don't add anything to it? You don't cook it? You just eat it? I'm like, yeah. Like, and to me, it's
That's
just like,
funny.
I don't know. That's the way that I guess when I first bought it, I was just like, I just want to try it, right? And I tried it and I liked it, and I just kept eating it just like that. I didn't think, let me add stuff to it. I like it the way it is. I just like the freshness of it. It's almost
Yeah, no, I mean,
like it's almost like eating water to me.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if it works for you, I don't know if I could do that shit. That's pretty intense. I mean, but if you like the taste, I guess yeah, that could work. I'm trying to think like I'm trying to think of like an analogy of like what food I am like that, but I don't think I have any.
Yeah, I mean, I also eat just carrots and cucumbers without like taking the skin off or chopping them. Like I just eat them just like that.
Oh shit. All right,
So,
well,
so
I see now.
I'm in another level, man. Like I said, I keep it minimal, man. They were born like that. I'm gonna eat them like that.
Oh shit. I respect that. I respect that though. Like shit,
uh,
you're no prep, no nothing. Just give it to me raw.
just wash them, take a little bit of the dirt off. Not even all the dirt has to be off, just a
A
little
little
bit.
dirt's good for you, you know?
Exactly. Yeah,
Keeps you
exactly.
strong. Hell
Exactly.
yeah. That's
uh,
dope, man.
Cool. All right. So, man, it's been really good talking to you and getting to know you a little bit more. Every Tuesdays we are on 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're on
Hmm.
Twitch, gaming. So if anybody wants to check us out, come through, chat with us, or want to join and play with us, let us
Hell
know as
yeah.
well. We're usually playing Warzone. We have tried NBA in the past, NBA 2K. Um,
I think we
but
should start trying more too,
I'm
right?
down. Yeah, definitely.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Warzone is definitely engaging. There's like this addictive component to it where like you want to win and you want to get better and you know that you can win and you know that you can get better. So like it's hard to snap out of it, but there are definitely a lot more games out there that we can try and we should do that.
Yeah, we should like yeah, I'm gonna start brainstorming. I'm bring some to the table and then
Yeah.
see what you think on that.
Let's do it. So if anybody, actually, let me do this. So is there any? last words that you would want to say? Anything? I guess that you uh, what I've asked in the past is there anything that you like find that helps you kind of get through life, like a last word on your end?
A last word, like a last, like a motto, like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
um,
Like flow like water, right, Bruce Lee?
yeah, yeah. I don't know why I've been on this like Matrix can Matrix Revolutions Matrix 5, where there's a specific scene that kind of comes to me, where it's in the, I think it's in the trailer 3, the Matrix Revolution trailer 3, where Morpheus says to, I think, the general at the time, right before they're going into war, right before the machines are closing in on them and they're completely outnumbered and everything, and he says, as a desperate, like, kind of, not a desperate, sorry, he is so confident in what he's saying, no matter how bleak it looks. He's talking about Neo, and he says, no matter what happens, I know that as long as there's a single breath in his body, he won't give up, and neither should we. And so, like, I was like, oh shit, that shit
Oh
hits
yeah.
deep. So yeah, so I think sometimes when life is hard, I definitely like think of that, because like I'm a huge Matrix fan.
Hmm.
So Morpheus is like the king of freaking like mentor, like just like wizard, just knows
Sensei.
everything.
Yeah,
Exactly. So yeah, so
that's cool.
that'd be mine.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
cool, man. One thing that I've always told my sister, the youngest one, she's 18, she's learning how to drive. I told her, she doesn't know about Matrix, but I was just like, you know what Morpheus said, right? He told Trinity never to go on the freeway because that's where you die. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. They were
Because
running from the twins.
they are exactly, and they're fighting. They start, all these cars starts crashing, and it's a mess, right? But I remember he told her to not go in the freeway. So I don't know why that's one thing that always stuck with me. uh,
Yeah, no, geez, Morpheus is the man. He knows all.
yeah.
I love that guy.
All right. And so if anybody wants to find you on Instagram or your Twitch, what are your tags?
Oh yeah. Well, I have a website as well that's just a little bit more like that has all of my links.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, it's ukupacha.co. And I'm just pulling it up right now. And there you'll find like my music. You'll be able to read a little bit more about me. My SoundCloud's there, my Facebook's there, the Supay's YouTube's there, my Instagram channel's there, my Twitter, and also my Twitch is
Perfect.
there, all in there. So it's on the top right as soon as you enter the website. So yeah, you can. That's where you can find all
Yeah.
of me.
Definitely, yeah. And I'll
So
definitely have that on the description as well, just so that it's easily clickable. But
sweet.
Sam, again, thanks. Appreciate your time, man. It's been a great conversation, and I'll catch you next Tuesday as well.
Exactly, like in Matrix, he's like, "Oh, it's a pleasure meeting you," and he's like, "The pleasure is all mine."
There we go. There we go.
Exactly.
All
So,
right,
yep,
brother.
like always. All right, man.
Sounds good.
All right.
Peace.